What's going on YouTube? This is JabberTech, and today we're going to do a little comparison between these two watches. The one on my left here is the Coros Vertix, and it's one of those watches that I really like because it has some pretty nifty features inside, which I'll get to in just a little bit. And the second watch that I'm going to compare it to is the Garmin Fenix 6X. Now, I've been wearing the Fenix 6X for about a year, and I've been using the Vertix for about 3 months or so, and I just want to give you my thoughts on using these two watches. This is not going to be a full review. I've done full reviews on both of these watches, so if you're interested in that, there'll be a link that'll pop up as well as in my description. But I figured I'd give you my thoughts on these two watches because you might be thinking of an awesome fitness watch and you just don't know which one to get. Both of these watches are superb fitness watches first, and they're okay smartwatches second, but both of them will give you more stats than you know what to do with. These watches are fitness beasts. So let's go ahead, check them out together and see what they're all about. Now I just want to mention one thing that someone's probably getting ready to type. Why am I comparing the Fenix 6X Sapphire to the Vertix when this has a 1.4 Sapphire inch screen and the Coros Vertix has a 1.2 inch screen? You might be saying, why don't you compare it to the Fenix 5 with a comparable screen? And the answer is very simple. Both of these watches represent their top of the line models, aside from the Garmin Tactics Delta, which is a little bit higher than this, but in the Fenix line you can't get any higher than the 6X at the moment. And the same goes true for the Vertix. Now the Vertix will start about $599, and you get a whole bunch of different cases that you can get, a whole bunch of different bezels, whereas the Fenix 6X Sapphire is $899, so that $300 price savings might sway you more to the Coros Vertix. And let me tell you, this is one beast of a watch. Taking a look at the Coros Vertix on the wrist, it sits really nicely on the wrist, and again, that smaller size means that it might fit most people's wrists a little bit better than the larger 6X will. Now in terms of some of the special features that I really like on the Coros Vertix, I like the design. I really like this. I'm going to call it kind of like an Omega Seamaster type of design. At least that's what it reminds me of. I also like this rotating crown on the side, which is used to unlock your watch, and it's also used to go through the different data pages, if you will. And I think most watches should have it because it just makes scrolling through the different data fields and scrolling through all of your workout activities very, very easy and a lot faster than if you used your finger. Taking a look at the Garmin, it's a very different approach. You have 5 buttons on the side and you also have widgets, so they do make it very easy to go in and kind of check out all of your different data fields, all of your different information that you might want to check out on the Garmin. So again, it's not to knock it because it doesn't have a crown. It's just a lot easier when you do have a crown to navigate through and do everything that you need to. But there also is a cool trick up the sleeve of the Vertix, and that happens to be that this also has a touch screen. So even though it has a Sapphire screen, it still has touch capabilities. So let me just show you that, and that's going to work within your activities here. So if we start a run, let me just go ahead and start that run. You can see that while you're in a workout activity, you can scroll through the different data screens, and this is something that I personally really like. You don't have to use buttons like you do on the Garmin Fenix 6X. You can either use this crown once again, or you can just rotate up with your finger, touch that finger on that touch sensitive screen, and you can go through the different data fields like that. So I really like this feature on the Coros Vertix. I'm hoping that it gets implemented to more and more of their pages, not just within an activity. I'd like to see this system-wide. That's just something that I would like to see. Another feature that I really like with the Coros Vertix, as you just heard, it does have a little speaker built in, so you get alert tones, and if you're doing any sort of strength training, you also get a little beep for your rest intervals, and that's something that I really like as well. I like just having a little chime to let me know that I got a text message or I got a phone call. It's just something that, along with the vibration, makes it a little bit more noticeable, if you will. So that's something that I like with the Coros Vertix as well. So when you do get a notification, you get that little chime, and I think that's something really nice. And it also came through on my Garmin device, which only vibrates, so you don't get any sort of chime. But now that we're talking about notifications, let's just show you how you can interact with notifications on the Coros Vertix. You can scroll through, and you really can't do anything else. You can delete all. Whereas on the Garmin line, you can actually reply with some predefined messages if you wanted to. So within the application, you can set up a couple replies, and this is something that, quite honestly, guys, I don't really use it that often because it's more trouble than it's worth to figure out how you want to respond with those predefined messages. I rarely reply on my Garmin watch. It's not like a smartwatch where I can do some voice dictation to it, making it a lot easier to reply. But in terms of notifications, having the ability to at least be able to reply on the fly if you needed to is something I give Garmin a little bit more credit for. They get a little bit more in terms of smartwatch features on the Garmin Fenix line. So the same goes for phone calls. You get a phone call, you get a nice little chime, and you can reject or accept the call. Whereas on the Garmin line, you get a little vibration and that's all. So in terms of that speaker, having an audible chime when you get a phone call or a text message makes it a lot easier, especially when you're walking through the city. Sometimes you don't feel that vibration on your wrist. Now really quickly, let's just talk about battery life, because battery life is something that really is important when it comes to a watch. You don't want the watch to kind of die out on you during an activity, and thankfully the Coros Vertix is no slouch when it comes to battery life. They claim about 45 days in smartwatch mode only, 60 hours in full GPS, 150 hours in Ultra Max, and it also is rated at 15 ATM, so just a little bit higher than the Garmin. Now the Garmin has a bunch of tricks up its sleeves as well, but I just want to finish up with the Coros. Again, I really like the Coros Vertix. I think the design is really nice. I like this rotating crown. I like the touchscreen functionality, and I also like all of the data fields that you get after you finish your workout. And towards the end of the video, I'll show you a little sample of that. And you can always check out my full review if you really want to get more in depth about this watch. So there's just a couple things that irked me along the way. Number one, when compared to the Garmin Fenix, the screen is just not as bright. Even with the backlight turned on, it's just not as bright. It's not as crisp. It's sometimes a little bit washed out. That's just one thing that I hope with their next iteration they give us a little bit bigger screen and a little bit better quality. But again, you're not really going to be staring at this. This is not really a smartwatch after all. But you can see the difference here if I show you guys. I'll just rotate so you can see different viewing angles. But in terms of readability outside, no issues whatsoever in direct sunlight. But again, you can see the screen's just a little bit washed out. I just wanted to show you that. But again, you're not going to be staring at this all that often. It's not a smartwatch, it's a fitness watch first. Make sure you guys know the distinction between those two. So just taking a look at the design of the watch, I personally think both of these watches are really nice and they have a different approach to their design. The Garmin watch is more of a rough and tough type of look, whereas the Coros watch, I believe, is a little bit more refined, and it's just a watch that could blend in and kind of just look like a normal watch. Again, you have that crown on the side as well as those two buttons. But I think both of these watches are unique in their styling, and both of these watches look really nice to me. Let me know which one you think looks better down in the comments below. And if you're interested in changing out watch bands like I am, the Coros Vertix uses 22mm quick fit, and the Garmin Fenix 6X uses 26mm quick fit bands. If you're looking to change out these watch bands, check out my link down below for Straps Co. Thanks to those guys for giving me a coupon to share with you guys. Buy 2 watch bands, get 1 free. And they're very affordable. You can get watch bands for both of these watches or basically any watch that you have. So check my link down below. Garmin gives you more in terms of smartwatch features over what the Coros Vertix does. You get a whole bunch of different watch faces. There's actually a watch face store where you have tons and tons of watch faces that you can choose from. There's even apps. You can pay from your wrist. And that's something that the Coros Vertix doesn't have. This has Garmin Pay. It has the ability to play music directly from the watch. Now in terms of battery life, it gets a little bit more complicated with the Garmin because you have so many different modes, you have so many different ways that you can turn things on, turn things off, and you can save battery life that way. But out of the box, Garmin claims about 21 days in smartwatch feature. You get the same 60 hours in full GPS, about 120 hours in that battery saving GPS status, so that's about 30 hours less. And if you use music plus GPS, you're only going to get 15 hours. But again, you can go in and you can change and make your own power modes, just giving you the ability to figure out how much power you need when you're out and about doing your day's hike or whatever you're going to do. So in terms of battery life, out of the box, Coros gets the win, but in terms of customization, in terms of creating your own power scheme, Garmin definitely gets the win there. Garmin gets the win because it is a more lifestyle type of watch. You get Garmin Pay in here, so you can quickly go to the store and you can pay from your wrist very, very easily. That's something that I do all the time. I like paying from my wrist. I don't really put music too much on my watch because I generally have my phone with me at all times, so that's not really a huge concern. But if you want an overall well-balanced fitness watch with some smart functionalities, the Garmin watch definitely takes the win. You also get that vibrant screen that I really like, and you also get a bigger screen as well, but that could also be changed with the next Coros Vertix. They just announced that they're going to have a product launch next week, so I'm hoping some of these issues will be fixed in the next edition. But I also like the fact that Garmin's application is just a little bit better, a little bit more polished than the Coros Vertix application. You can see that Garmin's app definitely has a more a more user-friendly type of design. You can go in and you can see everything about your day's workout, your week's workout, etc., etc. There's also challenges, so you get that social aspect that a lot of people need for a little boost, or for bragging rights as well. If you want to challenge your friends and you want to actually beat them, you can go in and create some challenges for yourself. So again, I think the Garmin app is a lot better than the Coros app. Personally, the Coros app is kind of like the watch. It's a no-frills type of approach. Gives you all of the information. That's it. It's here. Use it as you will. Check out all of your stats and keep it moving. But you can go in. So if we take a look at a little bike ride that I did the other day, you can get a whole bunch of different stats about all of your workouts. Again, if you want to see a full review for either of these watches, I go into more depth with fitness tracking. I'll leave those links down below. But in terms of the stats, both of these give you just about exactly the same amount of stats. Both of them have the same sensors. Both of them are pretty much identical when it comes to what they can track and what sensors they have in there. Just to show you the watch faces for the Coros Vertix, there isn't a store. This is all provided from Coros themselves. And quite honestly, I think they give you a nice balance between data-rich watch faces and simple watch faces, analog, digital, etc., etc. I just like the fact that Garmin has a store. I just like the fact that users can go ahead and create their own watch face and upload it for other people to enjoy. And you also don't get challenges here, so you really can't challenge your friends. Again, that's the social aspect of the Garmin watch. Not everybody uses that. I personally don't use that myself. Now, one huge strength to the Garmin is you do have preloaded maps, so that is a huge benefit for a lot of people that go hiking. You don't have to load up the maps ahead of time. You don't have to go in and upload data to find out where you are. This has maps built in, and again, that's a huge plus for a lot of people. Not necessarily for myself, but as a fitness watch, as an expedition type of watch, Garmin definitely takes the lead there. And you can export your data as well, so if you wanted to export your data after working out, you can do so on both of these watches. Again, they're very similar in a lot of ways. In terms of your activity information after a workout, this is the information you'll get from both watches. It's very similar. Now again, I've been wearing my Garmin watch a little bit more often than the Vertix, so it knows a little bit more about my health status and whatnot. But in terms of overall information, you're going to get just about the same stats from both of these watches. Heart rate monitors were on point, altimeter was on point. Everything on these watches is just about the same, so I can't knock either one of them for heart rate tracking or for actual GPS tracking. They both did an excellent job. Which watch would I actually prefer? That's really tough. I like both of these watches. I definitely think both of them have a lot going for them. If we take a look at the Garmin, I really wish Garmin would put kind of like a touchscreen as well. When I got used to this touchscreen, it was kind of hard to come back to these 5 buttons. I also would like to see some sort of speaker so I could get those chimes from my workouts and notifications, etc., etc. I think if you put that on the Garmin, this would be awesome. I would like a rotating crown, but we all know that's not going to happen from Garmin. What would I like to see from the Coros Vertix in the next iteration? I would like to see a more vibrant and larger screen. Give people the option to have a large watch if they want, and also have a small edition. I think that would be something great for the next iteration of the Vertix line. I also would like to see the ability to reply to messages, even with predefined messages, because even though I personally don't use it all that often, I know a lot of you do, and I have been known to use it. When you're on the train, you can quickly reply with yes, on my way, etc., etc. So having some predefined replies would be definitely helpful, so I think they could do that very easily. But other than that, I really have no complaints with the Coros Vertix. I think they did an excellent job, and I think it's a beautiful watch, and I think the Garmin's a beautiful watch. Just depends on what you guys want. But let me know if you have any questions about these two watches. I really appreciate you guys watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.